Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, November 17th here in beautiful Sudbury, Ontario, and as well in Tom Rivers, New
Tom's River.
York. Tom's River. Close
Yes.
enough. I'm going to get it one day.
Close enough. Oh, thank you.
It's Kyle alongside Dylan again. Dylan, oh my God. I just had a long meeting with him. That's why it's still stuck in my head. It's Neil, everybody. Oh my
Hi,
God.
everybody. Hi.
It's been a weekend. A lot of things happened this weekend in terms of hockey. We had the Grey Cup last night. I like, it's funny, like I didn't watch a single CFL game all year, but Grey Cup is just an excuse to have appetizers.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's why we did it.
That was the longest halftime show I've ever like. That was like.
I actually didn't mind it.
No, I didn't hate the performance. I thought MGK was actually very good.
Yeah.
I think I was just like, I don't know how long. I don't remember how long like the Super Bowl halftime show is. I guess
both. Actually, I looked it up. Both of them are half hour.
I don't know. I don't know why I felt like it took like longer, but like it's fine. It was not a big deal. And shout out to the Saskatchewan Rough Riders on winning the Grey Cup. My brother is a Rough Rider fan, so
nice.
he gets his first taste of Grey Cup glory. And it was, it looked like it was going to be a blowout, and then Montreal started to make a push.
That's the thing I find always about the Grey Cup, and I'm actually more and more fascinated by it because the score at one point was 25-7, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
In an NFL game, pretty much game over, right? But the way that the clock works, right? Mm-hmm. And the few downs that you have, right? You're able to turn, like, you look at it beginning of the fourth quarter, I think they were down, I think it was 25-14 and they were down. They turned the ball over at the beginning of the fourth quarter, like within a minute, right?
Yeah.
And they punted and got the ball back and they got a field goal out of it, right? So like, and the way that the stop clock works, like it gives them a bit of a chance. Like you're never really out of it, right? And they were all the way in it until they fumbled it there on the 1 yard line.
Well, yeah, I mean they were going in looking to make it like a 3-point game. It's essentially
they could have tied it. If they went for two, they would have tied it.
Oh yeah, and then they just coughed it up. I mean, what a way to lose the game.
Yeah.
I mean, what like fumbling it at the 1 yard. Shea Patterson, who was the one who fumbled it, that's gonna haunt him for a long time.
Yeah. And especially like I think it's funny, like I think the CFL is in a better place than what it was like 10 years ago. Like I grew up in the late 2000s era of the CFL, and like the Grey Cup was actually like a really, and it still is, like it's still a big thing to Canadians, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's in a good place though, because I think eventually like you got these new rules that are changing, and then like I think there's going to be an expansion team coming soon, and I think they need to do it for the Maritimes. I think they have to include it. And I think they will eventually down the road. I think they should do it, honestly. Stick it in Halifax and you'll find some success because they don't have much out there, right? But yeah, no, it was an entertaining game last night. I had a lot of fun with it. Didn't have fun watching Sam Darnold turn back into a pumpkin.
Oof,
but
he was definitely seeing ghosts last night for sure.
For my Seahawks, I'm actually more. I'm more encouraged.
They still won the game.
That's the stupid thing. I'm more encouraged because I'm like, well, wait a second here. Like they had a game-winning field goal, albeit it wasn't even close. But yeah, he threw 4 picks, and it's like they should have smoked these guys.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I think at the end of the day, I forgot which the Seahawks player was. It was after the game.
Ernest Jones.
Yeah, he was like, Sam Darnold's a dog. Like this is not, everybody, like, guys are going to have a bad game for sure. And I think that I will say this though. I think if anybody had Sam Darnold as like a potential like MVP like candidate,
it's gone now.
I think with the way that went, and also the way Josh Allen played yesterday for Buffalo with like 6 total touchdowns, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up, at least for Sam Darnold. But like at the same time, I don't think it's like panic time either for them.
No,
like it's just like it's a bad game. Move on.
Yeah.
You can still win the division. It's not like it's...
Look, I mean, guess what? We get the Tennessee Titans next week. So, this team's going to be
perfect excuse to run up the score.
Right. Perfect excuse. And also, too, like anybody who's injured, like can be like, all right, let's take it a little easy here because we're going to smoke these guys.
Exactly. I can't speak the same about the Giants. Had a chance.
Yeah, that was tough. Had a chance
yesterday. 5th different game this year in which the Giants blew a 4th quarter lead.
Yep.
Can't say I'm surprised. And look, with Jameis Winston, you live and die by him. Like he'll make some plays that like you love, like that 10-yard QB sneak, which was like the most electric.
That was so funny.
because he's such a big guy.
It's
So
true.
it's hard to move him, but then he throws that interception, and I don't blame him completely. I think the receiver he screwed up the route. He stopped running.
Right.
Jameis just throws it literally right to the guy in the Packers. But I mean, it's just one game closer to this really frustrating season ending and moving on to, the next head coach, whenever that might be. Which I think we got that news right after you and I jumped off last week.
Yeah, it was on the Monday
Dable
last
got
week.
fired
Dable
right
got
after.
fired. Yeah.
Yep. So
yeah, nice.
There you go.
All right. Enough football talk. Let's talk about our lovely the team that we love so much here in the Calgary Flames. So, it kind of away on Saturday night against the Jets. It was a perfect way to tank outside of getting the point. Gordon Otto actually looked like, I mean, we might as well get into the game here.
Sure.
Gordon Otto, I thought, was probably one of the better players out there. Like, he finally found like he was getting himself back into form a little bit.
Yeah.
Hellebuck was just being Hellebuck, though. I mean, there wasn't much you could do.
He still gave up 3 goals.
It's the classic Flames team where all of a sudden Jake Bean scores. Right.
Did that upset you? Let me ask you something. Did that upset, I know you're not a Jake Bean fan, but did it piss you off a little bit that he scored?
I was a little upset of that. Yeah. I was pretty upset.
I was going to message you when he scored. I was like, oh.
Yeah. It was a little upsetting seeing him score. And it's just because now it gives you more reason to be like, damn it.
But keep on, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to show something though, really quick.
Yep.
After and we'll get into the game afterwards. So they obviously go to a shootout. Jets win in the shootout. Blah blah blah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest talk was Rasmus Andersson's shootout attempt.
Oh, God.
And I'm not sure if you saw this, Neil.
I did. I watched the game.
Right. So this was, I mean, the title of the episode is clear as day here. How his trade value is just going down and down and down and down here. Right. But my God, this shootout attempt. Oh, wait, sorry. Is absolutely god awful here. So he goes in left side, going slow, and it's like the softest, 50 mile, not even 10 mile an hour shot here. And Hellebuck just goes down. I don't know if he's trying to fool him going 5-hole here. I don't get it.
I think Andersson understands the tanking. I think he did that on purpose. I think that's tanking right there. I think that's
too.
No, because I don't think Andersson's had that many shootout attempts in his career, if I'm not mistaken.
He went over Kadri. The shooters in the shootout for the Flames is absolutely ridiculous.
No, you know what that tells me? Oh my goodness, I should have screenshot it. Someone said in the final score post that the Flames made on Twitter that said, shout out Chat GPT for that shootout lineup.
Yeah, literally. That's right.
Thinking, I think Chat GPT said to Huska, no, you need to put Andersson in this moment.
Yeah.
Do you think Andersson was surprised that he went?
No.
You don't think so?
No, not at all.
Over Kadri?
Yeah, not at all.
Okay.
Because nobody, the whole team, nobody knows how to do a shootout. You can't, nobody knows.
They have a problem throughout the league, honestly. I'm not saying the Flames are I'm not trying to defend the Flames. I think we have a problem in general nowadays.
With a lot of guys shootout?
Yes. Okay. In the shootout. Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that overthink it, a lot.
Sure.
This is why I love watching Patrick Kane in the shootout because he can throw out about 30 different moves.
Yeah, exactly.
And score. I feel like a lot of guys in the league have 1 or 2 moves, and they're not even that super.
Yeah. Listen, I think they need to fix 3 on. I think 3-on-3 has been the best thing that's happened for a long time,
agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Having now been to a game live and seeing OT recently when they were in Ottawa and watching the back and forth skating and they're in the offensive zone. Oh, they're coming all the way back.
They do the
coming back in.
The
right. So I think shootouts need to be eliminated, personally.
Thank you. I'm completely agree with you on that.
I think they need to be eliminated. And I think what you can do, in all honesty, right, is I think there's 3 things that you can adjust to the overtime rule. I think you make it 10 minutes.
Okay.
I think you make it 10 minutes. I don't think that's a problem, right? If you want to do run clock too, like maybe not, but maybe run the clock for the first 5, but then like under the last 5, maybe pause. I don't know, whatever. I'm just hyperbole here. So you do that, maybe put it to 10 minutes, maybe put it 7, 8, whatever.
Sure.
I think that as soon as you cross the center line, right, when you're attacking, like you can't whittle your way all the way back. You're there. I think there has to be something where you negate them going all the way back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, maybe that's here nor there, and to figure that out. And also, if the NFL is allowed to do ties, then I think the NHL needs to bring that back too.
No, I don't want to see that. No, I don't want to see that, because I think that we're going to be in a position where there's going to end up being a lot of, not confusion, but a lot of like weird situations late in the year when there's playoff pushing, and then we're going to go.
Well, I was going to make that point, though. That point because
sorry, but go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'll bring it back to you. So, that's my thing. Remember all the way back, like I think it was the Rangers who were in a shootout, and it was Rangers Flyers, I think, years and years ago, where they both got into a shootout, and the winner got in
on the last day of the season, right?
Last day of the season.
Yes, I remember.
Does that not leave a bad taste in your mouth though? Like after the shootout, like I think it was the Rangers who got in, and the Flyers were the ones out.
No, it was the other way around. Flyers got in. That was the year the Flyers went to the Cup.
Right.
Against the Blackhawks. Literally, if they don't win that game, they don't go to the finals. Literally.
Right. So like I don't love it in the sense of like your whole year is coming down to a shootout where it's really like a fifth game of 50-50 here. Because and like, you know what I mean? Any goalie can be hot unless you're the Flames and nobody can score. Then that way the scales might get tilted a little bit. But I don't know. I just, for me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't care if you call me dumb or not, but like, I don't like the last couple of games of the year, like in big games here, to get that extra point, like you have to get it into a shootout. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I say play it in overtime, extend it a little bit longer, right? And then I think if you tie, just both teams get the point.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's the only league personally and soccer where you can tie and like you earn a point. I think that's just, I don't know, like you might not like it, but I don't know. Like I hate the loser point.
I mean, the loser point, I think, is always going to be a thing in the NHL. I mean, I always think about like the New York Islanders. What was it, last year or 2 years ago? Like they were the kings of getting the loser point. It felt like every game they were getting, like an overtime or shootout loss point. I'm definitely not opposed to extending the time to 10 minutes. Because I think that would just in general, like if you just do that and you don't do anything else, I think the percentage of like somebody scoring obviously and winning the game, I think increases a lot.
Right. And you won't see shootouts more, right?
You'll see fewer and fewer shootouts. I think the NHL is, I think honestly, Kyle, I think the NHL is slowly trying to negate the shootout without necessarily getting rid of it in the regular season. I think that I agree with you. I think that the shootout should be eliminated altogether, because for an exciting game to come down to a 50-50 skill on skill kind of challenge there, I don't like that. And I've seen plenty of times some of the best players in the world go up and take a shot, or even sometimes the amount of times we've seen a guy lose the puck.
Yeah.
Like just lose it, or maybe lose an edge, and that's the end of it. And it's like, well, that's crap. Like that's a crappy way to like end the game.
And go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, but I have a different idea.
Okay.
I have a different idea. So instead of 10 minutes, you keep it at 5. But here's what you do. You do 3-on-3. If that doesn't work, you go to 2-on-2. And if that doesn't work, you go to 1-on-1. I think that would be way more entertaining, because I think that you would get essentially continuous overtime. But then all of a sudden, the ice just gets that much bigger with fewer players on the
ice. My problem with that,
right,
if it gets to that point, is fatigue on these guys.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like you don't want to like. I just think fatigue, it might be an issue, right? Hey, Kadri, I know you just played your heart out. It's a 5-on-5 game here. It's a 5-5 game.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely dead. Go 1-on-1 here against Nathan MacKinnon.
Right. And I recognize that like that would also create a challenge. But also, like, let me just bring up another point.
Okay.
What's the difference between that and like guys having to play 60 plus minutes in a Stanley Cup playoff game, other than obviously the odds of or the stakes of the game? They're still playing a lot of minutes. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they are, but it's just playoff hockey's just different.
I know it's different,
just
but also
different.
like we all just want to be entertained. And I feel like personally, like the shootout in
Sure,
general is not that entertaining. I
sure.
don't believe it is.
But I think like, and I understand the frustration with like ties. Don't get me wrong. I don't think there should be ties
Mhm.
involved in the NFL at all. I think it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But when it comes to something like this in the NHL, especially with the amount of parity that's happening this year as well, too, like
Mm.
you can eliminate the shootout, right?
You can.
You can by extending it to 10 minutes, right? Letting
Sure.
it go 3-on-3, change the yinky dinky stuff where they do the full, like whatever, like they go all the way back in. Oh, we go all the way back out, like of the offensive zone. And it's like, you got to eliminate that. And if
It's
you
my
do, and if you
yeah.
do, 90% of the games are probably going to finish with somebody scoring, right?
100%.
And I
100%.
think
Yeah.
if you end it in regulation, you tie, well, then I think that it warrants the tie, does it not?
Mhm.
You went and played a full 60 minutes, couldn't be decided. You played an additional 10,
Mhm.
right? With a few adjustments, and nobody could score. I think in that case, it warrants a tie. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. I just think that ties in general, like I watch a lot of like European soccer. I
Sure.
watch Major League Soccer. I'm not a fan of tying in general because I just feel like that, and maybe it's different in that sport in soccer because
It
the
is.
field is bigger, the game slows down a lot more than what we see in hockey.
Well, also look at the amount of teams that are involved. Like if you look at World Cup
Also, the amount
qualifying,
of people
right?
on the field. I mean, you're going 11 on 11. Same
Right.
thing in the NFL. Um,
But I mean, look at World Cup qualifying as
that's
well.
true.
We're getting off topic here, but like,
Well, not really. I mean, look,
okay.
here's the thing. What we're talking about, we lost, but we lost in a kind of positive way, in the funniest way you could think of.
It was an encouraging way. And I mean, like,
Yeah,
Coronado, I thought finally turned it around a little bit. It is frustrating that Jake Bean scored. Kevin Ball netted one as well too. Like, so Coronado had 2 points on the night, but
I
like he
I
looked better on
definitely
the
thought
power
his
play
shot
though.
was deflected.
And in the shootout. So here's who they
Yeah,
had. They had Frost, Huberdeau, and Anderson out there.
nice.
Yeah, because
Nice.
they don't have another choice.
No,
um,
I mean, yeah, I
so
don't.
and you know what's funny is I think
Cole
with
Perfetti got his first.
right. It's
Painful.
funny with Morgan Frost.
Mhm.
I I think it's a mistake that they re-upped them. I think it's starting to become a mistake.
It's becoming a problem because
Yeah.
he's not, based on the contract he got and what they expect of him, he's not that kind of player, I
Right.
think. And I I don't remember how many years is it again? 3, 2? I forgot already.
They signed him to an addition. It's 2 years, so it's this year and next, which is not
Right.
the end of the world,
Which
but
I think you could definitely, I think you can move it, especially with the cap going up. I don't see a world where like that is like difficult. I think what's frustrating is that you made a trade to acquire him and Farabee for Kuzmenko last
mhm,
year. And at first, it kind of looked like that the Flames have won that trade, which I would argue to say they probably still have because, I mean, Kuzmenko's not even in Philly anymore. He's in LA. Um,
sure.
but I think just like what the expectation from the front office for Frost, I think was above what the reality actually is for him.
Sure.
So
I get it. Yeah, I understand.
I want to see him score
So,
more. And I just don't think he has, I don't think he has that kind of consistent scoring ability personally.
I don't think he does either. And I think
But
like,
then again, most of the
what's the
guys in this team don't have that. So
well, and that's just the case, right? Like nobody really seems to have that kind of edge, right?
right,
So yeah, whatever. It was unfortunate. I thought it was good in the sense that you're competing with one of the top teams in the league.
right.
It was competitive. You're getting the young guys involved here. Kevin Ball, like, with Coronado, who having 2 points there. The younger guys made some contributions there. It was a pretty even affair, especially in the faceoff dot as well, too. I actually got to give credit to Backlund. He was playing. He had a good
Oh
he had a
yeah,
good night at the faceoff draw. Um, So it was good in that sense, and then just
Mhm.
tacks on another loss, which is great, because that's just what we're all hoping for at the end of the day.
One question that I did want to ask you, Kyle, because we were just talking about Morgan Frost and his contract.
Yep.
I know it's only year one of this other deal, but like, are you worried at all about Matthew Coronado maybe not playing to the level that deal that he signed?
No. And I
You're not
say
worried.
that because you have to look at what he has with him, right?
What he has around
They
him. Yeah.
like nobody seems to decide, and it's been my issue for a while now, is that there's no consistency with the lineups.
Right.
If you're
I
paying
agree.
Coronado, you need to stick him on the top line with the Jonathan Huberdeau and right now Nazem Kadri. You
Roger.
need to have him there
Right.
because you can't keep flip flopping around like, oh, tonight he's going to play with Sharon Govich. Tonight he's going to play with Backlund and Coleman. Tonight he's going to play with Zari and Farabee or Frost or whatever. Like,
Right.
there needs to be some sort of sense of consistency where you got to give them time to build that chemistry, whether it be good or bad. You know what I mean? And it's like
Right.
every other game, they're just flopping it around. So, no, I don't think so. And I think
Okay.
that's going to come with time, right?
Okay.
Like, eventually, I think you're going to find that they're going to look for somebody to partner up with him, right? I
Mhm.
actually really like him on a line. You change around the centerman spot there, but I do actually like him on a line with Huberdeau. Because for
I agree
Huberdeau,
with that.
it's going to be feeding. If you find a centerman who's a pure goal scorer and you pair him there with Coronado, I actually don't hate that.
I don't either, and I think that, but I do agree with you that I need to see Coronado consistently on the same line with one or two guys.
Yeah.
Like, chemistry is such an important thing, especially in hockey.
You bet.
And if you want to build any sort of like flow, you need to keep some guys in the same spot no
Yep.
matter what the situation is. I think Huska is doing it based solely off of trying to find what works. The problem is that when you do it that frequently, guys are coming in to morning skate or practice or whatever, not really knowing that night who they're going to end up playing.
Right.
And then it's like the communication might not be there. I would like to see Coronado play more with Kadri because I think that there would be that connection and you have two guys. I think the one fear that maybe the Flames like coaching staff has, and I'm not like agreeing with it or like defending it, but like, oh, you don't want to be like too top heavy in your top six. But I think in this situation with where the team is already lacking scoring, what do you have to lose? Like, that's really how I look at it, because you got to find some way here to find more goals. And if it means you got to stack your top two lines or at least your top line, then so be it.
Sure. Yeah. And again, like, they put up 3 goals here
They
against the
did.
Jets and
And
forced them to
34
overtime.
shots. I mean, that's
Right.
nothing to sneeze
Which,
at.
like, it's funny. Like, we're not even asking for much here. It's just
No.
consistently, it's like you can't be shut out. You can't be scoring just 1 goal. 2 goals probably won't cut it most of the night.
Right.
Majority of the nights, they're not going to cut it. Right.
Right.
Like, 3 and above here is what we're asking realistically.
Right.
So
if you're getting three to 4 goals, 3 out of the 4 games, right, or even half, you're giving yourself a much higher percentage of winning. And that's not even like an analytics thing. That's just like an obvious, like, we see how the game goes.
Yeah.
That if a goaltender's giving up 3+ goals, 9 times out of 10, that you're going to end up finding a way to win the game. It's just that in this situation, it ended up going to a shootout.
Yeah.
And, the Flames put out whatever the hell kind of lineup
whatever
that
it was again.
Maybe it was the vibes thing. Maybe I'm
Who
wrong.
knows?
Maybe it was
And
a vibe
even
thing.
like with Zari being on the 4th line, it's like, what are you really doing here? Like, he's clearly not a 4th line guy. You
He's
got to give him
not.
some more minutes
He's
there on the
not.
3rd. Like, you got to stop. Like, and that's the thing. Like, that's why some of these aging guys just, you got to start weeding it out. And you got to start formulating some of these the young core coming back in. So,
Right.
okay, let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We're going to talk trade. We're going to talk injuries. We're going to talk recalls as well too, that we're all coming into the pipeline today. So we'll be back. The NBA season tips off, and so does DraftKings' newest fantasy game, DraftKings Pick 6. It's the easiest way to win big wins, with every possession giving you a shot at real money. And here's how to play: just pick more or less on 2 or more stats and unlock the upside every game brings. Pick 6 is available in Texas, California, Missouri, and more. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks, and with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. You can play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. You make the call, ride the upside. It's in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, you call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. You can call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. You must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 is not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6draftkings.com/promos. Wonderful. Okay.
I love the way you said that. You're like, wonderful.
It's because I nailed it.
Dude, that might have been the best one you've done so far. I mean,
little stumble at the beginning, but we got there.
Yeah,
okay, let's start with news really quick from this morning. Not the best of news, honestly, personally. Rory Kierans is going back to the AHL after the one-game appearance there. He was playing on Saturday against the Jets. Some good news, though, is Sam Morton's going to be called up here, and Dryden Hunt's coming back as well from the AHL. Fantastic. Can't wait. The reason behind this is because Pospisil, who has not been in the lineup for a very long time, is going to be back in. So it's just opening up more slots for the guys who were injured coming back as well, too. Speaking of injuries, Samuel Honzek, it's going to open up another roster spot, too, because Honzek is going to be week to week after the injury he sustained there on Saturday. So it opens up a little bit more spots. So this is just more or less Morton coming in. He might play. Dryden Hunt is just going to be there just in case something else kind of happens as well, too. Again, Honzek week to week. Pospisil might be coming back, and you'll see Morton and Hunton called up as Rory Kierans is back with the Wranglers. Okay, now let's get into news that was brought in last week and has all of a sudden become a little bit more involving as the Flames organization, meaning Craig Conroy and co., are trying to figure out what exactly they're trying to package to sell. So it did start last week from Jay Rosehill, from I believe he was from Leafs Nation, where there have been talks between Brad Treliving and Craig Conroy about a potential Rasmus Andersson deal. Now, apparently there was supposed to be a deal that came down at trade deadline last year that for some reason just didn't go through, and they're looking to re-engage that talk. However, Craig Conroy has kind of looked at it and said, I don't know what kind of assets we're going to be able to get back from the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that came up, along with the fact that Kadri's name has continued to be in the loop. Again, you probably won't hear anything until more or less closer to the end of March, maybe the Olympic break. But then another name has actually emerged because of his recent play as well, too. And it's going to be Blake Coleman.
Right.
So Blake Coleman's name has been brought up as round 2 for some trade interest. Mainly, he's got 2 years left. I believe 2 years left on a $4.9 million deal with the Flames that'll end next year. However, his recent play has garnished to be looking very good as somebody that they might want to include on a cup contender. I think if you're going to be looking to do this, you might be looking to do this sooner than later.
Sure.
Weeds out the old, brings in the youth a little bit as well, too, depending on how they want to formulate it a little bit. But Blake Coleman all of a sudden garnering a lot of interest around the league. So before we start with Blake, I want to start with Andersson, because that was the first piece of news that kind of came up last week, and it's been lingering a little bit as well. In terms of the assets that they would be able to get from Toronto, they don't want to trade guys like Easton Cowan and Ben Danford, one of their top prospects, and they don't have a first-round pick all the way until 2028, okay? As they are off to a rough start this year.
Right.
Darren Dreger mentioned on last week, I believe, that if even some sort of conversation continues to go, it would actually start revolving around Matthew Knies. Now, I don't think the Leafs would even consider that at all, which begs the question here, Neil, is it even worth continuing this conversation here with the Leafs?
No, it's not, because the reality is that Brad Treliving knows Andersson, right? Knows, obviously being the GM, not too long ago, and knows the kind of player that he can be. It reminds me of like when we were talking about in the offseason, we were talking about, Andersson maybe going to Vegas, and we were saying, okay. And this was obviously before the season started. And we were saying like, look, Deforiev and otherwise no, because if you're the Flames, again, you don't want to just move him for the sake of moving him because he doesn't want to be there anymore and that he's on an expiring deal. And this,
You've alluded to that a number of times.
Yes. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, like, it's got to start with someone like that or Matthew Nyes. Now, granted, if Andersson was playing at a phenomenal level right now, I would feel more confident in like Craig Conroy saying to Brad Treliving, "You're getting this, but we get Matthew
I
Nyes."
believe Neil's mic all of a sudden went out because
Oh,
I
did it
can't
go
hear
out?
him anymore.
Oh no!
We'll give him a second there to regroup.
No.
But no, give him a second here. But I
Did it work?
agree that you're good.
Okay, I don't know what just happened there.
I don't know either. Just cut out.
Anyway,
You're good.
what was I saying? Um, anyway, my point was simply that, like, you're not going to get any of their top prospects. They're going to try to pull a fast one on you and be like, oh, let's give you like draft picks. No, because we're not there anymore. So what's the next best thing? Oh, well, you're going to try to get a roster player, which is fine. And, you know, you look at Matthew Nyes, he signed that long-term extension, and that's great. I think the other thing that I just want to mention, Kyle, is this. Right now, how would the Leafs get any better if they made a deal for Andersson right now?
Right.
Because it's not necessarily their defense that is the problem, although it does need work. They're not scoring. They're not producing. And they don't have Austin Matthews right now in the lineup. Anthony Stolarz is out currently as well with an injury. I'm not saying the deal is going to happen in this week, but I just don't see a world for Craig Conroy where he would get a deal from Toronto that would work. I just don't.
Because they're spiraling, man. They're spiraling.
Why would you want to help that unless they're so desperate?
Yeah,
that they do that.
I also think that the conversation ended when they claimed Troy Stecher the other day.
100%.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
So that's where the conversation dies, and then you go back to square one here with Andersson and see who's going to be interested.
And I'm not going to sit here and blame Craig Conroy for not pushing the envelope more.
No, of course not.
Also, I think I would be honest, I think one of the big reasons why the deal fell through last year or the deadline is probably because Andersson maybe didn't want to go to Toronto.
Maybe. It's possible.
Because remember, I mean, for the longest time, what was the belief that it was Vegas or nothing?
Right.
So it's like,
So
that's how I look at it.
Let's talk about. I want to talk about Kadri because nothing's coming of it, and it's pointless at this point, right? And just let him be, right? And we'll see what happens here in February, March, whatever, right? There's going to be nothing that comes of it. So let's talk about Blake Coleman.
Yeah.
I have an interesting thing here. And I'd have to see. I don't know what picks they have or not, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm almost tempted to move somebody like Coleman now. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much parity going around, right? Yep. And in what's going to be considered a really, again, I've said the last couple of years, this draft class is going to be better than last year's.
It's much deeper, yes.
Much deeper, right? I even said it last year, like the draft class coming up was not going to be great, right? We all know about it, what's coming up this year. I'm almost hesitant to call Florida and say, do you want him? And it might but then again, I don't think that you'd be able to garnish, you wouldn't be able to get a first round pick out of it, obviously, right? But, is there more to it where you could package it up a little bit and try to buy that pick? I don't know. Well, and again, the problem that you're going to find is that he's not going to garnish enough interest to be a first round pick. Okay, fine.
Right.
So then with his play, his level of play, what's that going to get? What are we realistically thinking of here that they're going to get? A second? Are they even going to get a second?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Excuse me. I think, I don't know what you would be able to get back. I think you would probably have to try to get a prospect here, but with his age and his contract is still up for another year, it's I don't really know what you could get out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and real quick before you go, I just wanted to, because there is the line here. Pierre LeBrun was the one that brought it up last week. And so he said, in quote, I was surprised to find out that the name that the Flames have actually gotten the most calls on so far this year is Blake Coleman. Not surprised because he's not a good player. Absolutely he is. But I also know that the Flames absolutely love his character. I think he's a huge leader in the room, and frankly, they're not shopping Coleman. What's happened is that a number of teams have checked in with Conroy and said, if you ever get there closer to March 6th, we'd love to have a chance to acquire Coleman.
So there you go.
So they're clearly not interested. But it's funny how other GMs have continued to check in. I find it more interesting that more teams are checking in. Hey, what's going on with this guy? What's going on with this guy? Right? Like, you guys are where you're at. Like, when's the fire sale coming? Right?
Right.
I think that it'll come up again in due time. But I wonder what the value of him is right now, because he's apparently a really good leader in the room and not as majorly productive on the ice, but he's got the leadership ability, and you wonder what that could garnish.
Well, I think one reason why his name has come up, other than the fact that, where the Flames are right now in the standings, is the fact that there are a lot of contending teams right now that have reportedly been looking for center depth. Montreal probably has now entered that conversation with losing Kirby Dach for what appears to be 4 to 6 weeks now, which is brutal for them. You look at New Jersey, even before the Jack Hughes injury, and now he's out 2 months. The Devils have been looking for a third line center. Blake Coleman fits that mold. Another guy that came up is Ryan O'Reilly.
Left wing center, by the way, Blake Coleman. Yeah.
Right. So he could play more than one, but I think if you're at least New Jersey, I think you would probably rather him be a third line center, which does fit the role that he's playing now, or similarly to the role he's playing now. Also, he has been in New Jersey before. He has played with several guys in New Jersey currently.
Here's something that I don't think we're thinking about enough, and it involves your Devils.
Yeah.
Okay. So and we'll talk about it, the story afterwards.
Yeah.
You just had what happened with Jack Hughes. Montreal having what happened to Kirby Dach. Who's to say that we approach January and February and something like this happens again with a good team in Montreal, right? A first place team in the Metro here in the Devils, right?
Most likely the Devils, because they have injuries galore already.
Sure. If that were to happen, you wonder if the calls towards a guy like Kadri become ramped up. Or again, if they lose that position there, third line center, third line left wing, however you want to look at it, do the calls all of a sudden just ramp up and they call us for a guy like Blake Coleman here and Kadri, depending on what happens?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like, I think that even though we're getting reports like, oh, the Flames aren't trading Coleman right now, it wouldn't surprise me as we got closer to the deadline, maybe another month or two from now, that teams really start ramping it up. And not only calling, but like throwing out offers and just basically saying to Conroy, do you want it? Again, like I said, we already have contending teams in the league right now that are looking for that center depth.
Sure.
Like, they're already trying to see if they can jump on it, maybe before we even get to the Olympic break and the trade deadline.
Sure.
So it wouldn't surprise me. But the one thing I will say, Kyle, and why I agree with what you're saying about moving Coleman now as opposed to later, is the exact same problem that we're currently having with Andersson. Andersson has had a very rough season up until this point.
Yep.
And it is without question that his value has
declined.
I wanted to say plummeted, but that's maybe over exaggerate. I would say has declined.
Yeah, sure.
Coleman is obviously an older player. And while he's playing well now, we're not even 20 games into the season. Who's to say in the next 10 games that Coleman doesn't go and get only 1 point or something like that? Not saying that's going to happen, but
or at the very worst, they get injured.
Well, then guess what? That's an asset that you had that now no longer becomes a piece that you can move.
Correct. Yeah.
So with Coleman, especially now that he is like the top guy that people are talking about in Calgary, as opposed to Kadri, I think that there is a way that you could probably get a good deal. And I think that there are going to be teams that if Conroy came out and said that we are looking to shop Blake Coleman now, I'm thinking 4 or 5 different contending teams are going to pick up the phone and call Conroy and say, this is the kind of offer. Now, what could Coleman get on the market? I think I'll be honest with you, Kyle. I think as long as Ryan O'Reilly's name keeps coming up in trade discussions,
Sure.
Coleman is the second or third option in terms of what teams would be looking for to add to the depth. In terms of value, you're looking at I would think the best you can do pick wise is maybe a second round pick. And I
Sure.
think a prospect does have to come the other way. I don't think you can get a plug-in player right away for a guy like Coleman, even though he does have more than 1 year left on his deal.
Sure.
After he has another year left after this season.
Sure.
I just don't see a world where some team would pick up and go, yeah, we'll take a first round pick, or like
Sure.
we'll give it. I don't even think Florida would do that honestly right now.
No, I think it's funny. Like, how long are you willing to wait? It's a pure patience
And that's
game
the
at this
question
point.
you ask the contending teams. How long are you willing to wait on your guys maybe getting back? Because some teams are dealing with injuries. Or how comfortable are you right now with the guys that you have on your team that you can say, this is the guys I want to go with? Like, that's what I'm saying. And
Right.
like, we've seen at the deadline, Kyle, that not always the guys that we expect to get moved. And a lot of the time it has to do with either the asking price is too much, or the value for said player is not the same that it was maybe even a month ago. And so I think that as much as I'm sure maybe Conroy and co don't want to kind of accept this at this point, because obviously things can change, but you have to face more reality that this Flames team is going to probably finish towards the bottom of the league. This is going to be a long year. And at some point when you have guys of value that can get you draft capital, maybe a prospect that becomes somebody that, and really steps up down the road, you have to strike while the iron is hot. I think the fear, other than the locker room thing, Kyle, is this: sending a message to the team that you are already punting the season when we are in mid to late November, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I'm not against doing that.
Sure.
I think that might be one of the reasons why maybe Conroy and co are not anxious to just blow it all up now as opposed to later in the year.
Well, I want to be able to see some of these guys get a chance here, like, later on in the season, right? Like maybe a month ago. Like, I want to see more of Rory. I want to see more of Sam. I want to see more of these guys coming up here. Like Kuznetsov, actually, I want to see more of too. I think he's a good, viable, two-way defender. So
we got to talk about his brother, by the way, at some point today, because what he did over the weekend.
Of course. So I just wonder, like, you're right, though. I love the point that you made at the end. Like, you're sending the message that you're punting the season, right? Like, as we're in the middle of November. I know that management and ownership are kind of gnawing back and forth at what to do, because ownership, Murray Edwards, still believes this team can make it. So, yeah. And the stupid thing is, and the way he sees it, I guarantee you, is, oh, we're 9 points out. It's only November.
Right.
Not
looking at the bigger picture here.
Yeah. Which also tells you he's not watching the games. You don't see the product on the ice. Right.
He's like a casual fan that just looks at the standings every now and then and goes, oh, 9 points, that could be made up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he clearly has no interest in the product on the ice. No. And that's where, like, it sucks, because as I'm sure Craig would want to do something, how much control does he have?
And I think another point, and Kyle, we've brought it up before, and I know that I've seen Drager and LeBrun and even Friedman bring it up, talking about it from Murray's perspective. I don't see a world where Murray would be totally content with, when the new stadium comes in, that the team is very young and inexperienced and maybe not as good, because I think he worries about attendance already becoming an issue from a financial standpoint right away if you make these moves. So I think that's why he's been so frustrating to work with, in terms of talking about these veteran players who maybe give us, at least in the now, a better chance to win now, so to speak. It just creates that that what you're saying, the gnawing back and forth, where I think if Conroy had full control, I think maybe some things may have happened already, or maybe
Sure.
it would be easier to say that he did that. Like, that's how I look at it.
I agree. And it's funny, like you look at around the league and you look at the teams that are in like the bottom 10 here of the standings. It's like weird seeing St. Louis down there. It's weird seeing the Maple Leafs down there, right? Why is Washington this far? Vancouver hasn't really done anything, right? The Lightning all of a sudden are like not doing that great. So like some of the teams you look at and you're like, I feel like we're in a better position than some of these other teams, aka the Leafs, which is fantastic.
Exactly, because a lot of those teams have older veteran players on albatross contracts that in a year or two is just going to be disaster. And none of those teams have the incentive right now to just simply be like, let's bottom out.
Yeah.
And go from there kind of thing. Like St. Louis doesn't have a reason. St. Louis has enough talent where if they can get it together, they can compete in the Central. This is a team that almost went to the second round of the playoffs last year.
You could have made an argument they could have won a second round series too.
Yeah, they could have made a run to the conference finals. Who knows? Especially if Bennington got on a hot streak like he's done before. Tampa, as long as they have that core there, including the head coach, like I don't see a world where Brisebois is like, yes, like it's time to
blow it up.
That reality and blow it up, right?
You got your money's worth out of it there in Tampa.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Any Lightning fan is going to be upset about that at something. Like
no, of course not.
You take what you had in the past
and relish
and understand that this is the reality of the situation. So, but with Calgary, it's different. Calgary, we are at the point now where we are already in that position. We have a ton of cap space. We do have some young, exciting prospects that are going to be coming up soon. We have a lot of assets even now to do that. And as long as Craig Conroy has the ability to do what he needs to do, it's fine. But if Murray is meddling a lot more and making it more difficult on Conroy, then this is kind of one of those results that we get where we'll end up in this difficult middle ground where we make a couple moves, but then we make some moves that we didn't like. I still argue that Andersson should have been dealt in the offseason. To go through this entire offseason, training camp, and now he's having a struggling year on a bad team, you're killing his value where maybe 6 months ago, you could have, got him for a lot more. You could have.
I agree. The last thing I'll say, I agree. I bet you, though, that were definitely calls made. But I also think after the offseason was done, leading into late July-ish, there were probably a lot of teams that probably just went, we're happy with what we have. Let's see what happens.
Everybody was. I mean, look how quiet the offseason was.
Everybody was satisfied with what they had. So, which begs the question then, like Vegas, for example, who's doesn't have Pietrangelo, right? Or if something else happens down the line where a top contending team loses that position, that kind of increases his value even from his poor play. And that's the kind of thing that I hate to say it, you're kind of hoping for a little bit.
Right. Exactly.
So anyway, okay, we'll get into some NHL news afterwards. One more quick break and we'll be back. The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Use Rakuten to stack cash back at your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's savings on savings. And with Rakuten, you can get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list, from toys for the kids to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook, to electronics for everyone. And you can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores that you love, and cash back is automatically added to your account. And you can choose to get paid via Interact e-transfer, PayPal, or checking. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.ca, download the app, or install the browser extension, guys. That's Rakuten with an Rakuten for Rakuten. Terms and conditions apply. All right. Before we get into the Jack News story, which kind of stole the weekend here, a couple of things that we wanted to just quickly touch upon here. Adrian Kempe signed an 8-year, $10.25 AAV with the LA Kings. 29-year-old forward, as he could have became the top unrestricted free agent going into the offseason this year. And now
This free agency class is going to be awful.
It's already bad. It's as soon as Panarin is off the market, it's bad. It's pretty bad.
I'm like at this point, like none of us are going to even like pay attention to the.
And who knows? It might even get to that point where like you're starting to see it more and more where a lot of teams aren't willing to get their guys to free agency. You know what I mean?
Especially with the cap going up.
They either want to lock them up or they're going to ship them out and get as much as they can for them. It's one or the other. That's the only time you really see somebody walk into free agency.
Trading is going to be much more of the big thing that teams are going to use to acquire talent in general.
Exactly.
Moving forward.
Exactly. So Kempe obviously signed a big deal. Sticking with the same team here in the Kings, you got Doughty, who's now out week to week here. Bruins, Arvidsson and Middlestad also on the IR. The Penguins were successful in Sweden. They helped them win on Sunday. Nashville took the opener there in Stockholm on Friday. Penguins continue to tie that series, if you want to call it like that in the global series.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, like the Penguins won that because they went 1-0-1. They lost in overtime in the first.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Then they were winners.
They got the better end of the stick there.
You bet. Red Wings were successful last night in MSG.
Where is the picture? We need the picture of the full line brawl from last night. That was insane.
That was crazy. Yeah.
And the color, by the way, the color scheme, like the uniform choices for that game, that was awesome.
They were off the charts. They were sick. They were really good.
Hey, cool.
Yeah. So let's talk what happened to Jack Hughes there, Neil. I think that's how we'll wrap up the show today. What was the
I mean, so I'll paint the picture for everybody. So the Devils came back and won in Chicago on was it Wednesday or Thursday?
I think it was Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. It was a great game. Shimon Nemec hat trick.
Yep.
Game winner.
Great game.
It was a great game between two talented young teams. And then we get to about Friday, and at around 4:30, Elliot Friedman drops an article on Twitter. By the way, on Twitter now with the articles, like there's no caption. No. So you don't like all I see is a picture of Jack Hughes. So I click on it like everyone else, and it said, "Unfortunate news is Jack Hughes has been injured." And I'm thinking, when did this happen? Because I'm like, Jack looked fine in the game against Chicago, got 2 assists. Like, he was great.
Was it practice?
Well, they did. Yeah. I mean, they had practiced that day, but it was very quick because they flew right out of there to Washington. And we get told that it was at the team dinner on Thursday night that Jack Hughes got cut. Now, first of all, it's Jack Hughes, and we know the unfortunate bad luck that this poor kid has had in the last 5 years with injuries.
You bet.
All of them until now being on the ice injuries.
Yeah.
So then the Devils come out like literally right after and say Jack Hughes had a hand injury, a non-hockey hand injury, which great. We know it wasn't a lower body or upper body, and that's wonderful. We knew that he wasn't going to play on Friday, but we didn't know the full details of what was happening. So the first assumption was that Jack Hughes got cutting his steak. It was at a steak dinner at a place called Chicago Cut. Just completely ironic, by the way. So ironic in so many ways. But
oh, Jesus.
The lore of this whole thing is that there was a picture that was taken that people saw through Arseny Gritsyuk's Telegram account, because he has a Telegram, and that's how people follow along with this team at times. But then there was another picture that came out because Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes were in the first picture. The second picture comes out, and it's with well-known Barstool creator Frank the Tank, who's this noted Devils fan. He happened to be at the same restaurant as the Devils. He didn't have dinner with them, but he was at the same restaurant. It was his birthday, yada, yada, yada. He took a picture with the team. The only people not in it were Jack and Luke. And everyone was like, why are they not in this picture? Well, now we know why. Because Jack went to the hospital because he got cut. We then find out late at night from Christy Flannery of the Hockey News at like 10 o'clock at night that same day that it wasn't a knife that got Jack. It was he leaned on a piece of glass whatever that means, and got cut. So we weren't going to be told anything until Saturday morning, afternoon before the game.
Sure.
So at about, I think it was 12:30 in the afternoon, according to David Pagnotta, the fourth period on whatever podcast he was on, he said that Jack Hughes cut his pinky finger and had to have surgery in New York City.
Oh my God.
Sure enough, the Devils once again, like 5 minutes later, put out a statement saying Jack Hughes cut his finger. They didn't say which, but
Sure.
Pagnotta confirmed it was his pinky. He had surgery and he will be out 8 weeks. He will be able to play in 8 weeks, is what they said. He will be reevaluated in 6. So Jack Hughes is now out for the next 2 months with a cut pinky finger that he had to have surgery on.
Just
and that
feels
adds
the
to
guy.
the laundry list of injuries that the New Jersey Devils have currently. They don't have Dougie Hamilton, Connor Brown, John Kovacevic, Brett Pesce, Evgeny Dodonov, Zach McEwen, Cody Glass, and now Jack Hughes. And so the good news is that Jack Hughes will come back and play later this year. What does that mean for his participation in the Olympics? From what I've been told, it doesn't affect as much because he'll be back in the middle of January. So he'll have a few weeks to play before the Olympics come around. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle, the Olympic rosters get announced sometime in early January, I want to say.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. So it'll be fascinating to see what that roster looks like when we get to that point. Just from that.
I think he still gets put on the team.
I think he most likely will too.
Sure.
Unless something happens, like he has.
And if something happens, they can just replace him, though. Like they can grab somebody else. Yeah.
Of course. So, yeah, I mean, it's the kind of
bizarro world.
It's a bizarro world kind of thing. But the one thing that I've really hated about this whole thing, Kyle, is this. First of all, I feel for Jack because this kid can't catch a break. I mean, he just can't. Every year it's something else, right?
Sure.
And I get where fans' frustration is about him getting hurt and people putting a lot of blame on him, even though a lot of the time when you think about the injuries that he sustained, how much of that is really on him and how much of that is the situation that he ultimately got hurt.
Yeah.
But what bugs me, and this continues the bizarro world that is this story, Kyle, is that you have Devils fans who have actually gone on Yelp or wherever to review the restaurant Chicago Cut and left 1 to 1.5 to half a star ratings on their restaurant based solely off of you guys got my best player hurt.
Yeah.
First of all,
it was probably Jack's accident. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's his fault. It was just an accident. Shit happens. Like
another thing that I found a bit stupid was this. Ryan Novozinski of NJ.com, who's a good friend of mine and he covers the Devils for NJ.com, actually called the restaurant to ask if there was any roughhousing that happened. Why do we have to do that? What kind of, respectfully, I don't see the point in doing that. I think that's stupid.
Sure.
I think it's over the top, personally. I don't think they'd even do that in Toronto, if I'm being honest with that media.
But like roughhousing, it's like go look at the stupid reviews that people were leaving.
Well, that's the thing.
And why would we tell you?
He called the restaurant to see if they could confirm if it was an accident, and the restaurant apparently replied and said it was a freak accident. There was nothing that led to that. It just happened.
What are they gonna say though, right? Oh yeah, one of our guys screwed it up.
No,
right?
I know, but also
they're never gonna admit that.
What does it matter? What does it matter? So the big thing that I would say to Devils fans and any fan of Jack Hughes that has done that, get a life.
Any fan in general,
touch grass. Why are you wasting your life?
What a joke for people to do that.
Negatively rating a restaurant that you will never go to in Chicago because your star player got hurt. This is the idiotic path of this. I don't understand what the thinking was, and it just
I agree. I agree.
And people on social media saying that Jack Hughes should be traded because of this, and others like it's just guys.
There's hockey fans out there that need to get a life.
Oh, there's people in general that just need to get a
Get
life
a
because
life.
this doesn't say necessarily about hockey fans. This just says about what people's
And you as a person, like that's like
he's a person for God's sake.
I
So
know
like,
it's
and you know what?
ridiculous.
The Devils have already won a game without Jack in the lineup. They won 3-2 in the shootout against Washington on Saturday night. Like they're still atop the Metro. They're still atop the Eastern Conference and in second place in the NHL. The sky is not falling.
Right.
Like,
But even like regardless though, like regardless of their standing, like it doesn't give you the right to go out and do what you did, like to leak those reviews. You know
whether
what I mean?
you like the guy or not, or whatever the case may be, there is no place in this world where that is acceptable.
No, stupid.
So
it is stupid.
Anyway, the bottom line with that is that Jack Hughes is now out with a cut pinky. It's so weird to even just say that out loud.
Yeah.
And he'll be out for 8 weeks or 2 months.
You bet.
And we'll see what happens. So,
well, wish him for speedy recovery and hopefully he can play in the Olympics, right? Because you feel bad for a guy like that, right? You just hope that he can go in and play. So I
also feel bad for Seth Jarvis last week, who got
I saw that by his own teammate.
By his own teammate. I think he's okay though. I don't think he's.
He's fine. Yeah, he played the next game against Edmonton. Yeah, he was fine.
So he's okay, but. Also with the Hurricanes, in that same game that Jarvis got, no, it wasn't the same game. I think it was the next game. Svechnikov decided to use his elbow with force and try to put, I forgot which player it was, his head through the wall, through the boards, literally.
It wasn't anything as bad, though, as that kid from the OHL, from the Mississauga Steelheads.
Oh, my gosh. That was insane.
Yeah. So I don't think I haven't seen anything yet about his suspension, but that to me is like, you're done for the year.
I think you're done. I think like there's
I think I think people deserve second chances. I think you're done for the year, though.
Yeah. And I think,
and try to recoup whatever it is you have back, because like that's like you could have took his eye out.
That was assault. That was assault.
You could have took somebody's eye out.
Yeah.
So anyway,
he got him, and then he had the balls to then cross-check him in the back while he was on the ground.
Yeah.
Because the guy took offense to the way he was hit behind the boards.
No remorse. So hopefully he learns from that.
Then he got into a fight, which, if I'm not mistaken, like you can't do that in the OHL, right? That's
I don't.
I think it might be college hockey. They punish you if you fight. I don't remember. It might be lower junior hockey at this point.
It might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll just bring up real quick. I know Jimmy's been doing a lot of the watch parties, though. I've actually updated where I'm going to be doing some closer to World Juniors. So I'm going to be locked in for Canada-Denmark there at the World Juniors.
Nice.
Also, gold medal game is going to be on a Monday night, which is very strange. But anyway, I'm going to be doing the gold medal game on the Monday night. If Neil wants to join for that, then by all means.
Continuing to try to get, my whole new area situated. And once I can do that, then I can really jump in and start doing more of these live watches.
Yeah,
I haven't done them this year, so.
I'll look ahead to the Flames games too. I got to do one before the year's done. But then also for the Olympics, I've tapped in. I'll be doing, and it's actually kind of nice because they do it in the morning and the afternoon due to the time difference there in Italy. I'll be doing Canada, Czechia, and Canada, Switzerland because the groups have already been made.
Fantastic. I'll try to do a lot of the United States games and just the other random games that maybe. I like doing the random games.
Yeah, and the playoffs will come up too, and we'll do some playoff games as well. So we'll make sure.
I'll never forget doing Sweden, Slovakia bronze medal 4 years ago, and we got so many Slovakian fans watching.
Well, I mean, it's a great time to do it because you get a lot of international fans tuning in, and it's a really good time to do it, which is why I want to put more emphasis there and doing it on the World Juniors and especially the Olympics coming up. Which is great.
I was going to ask you thoughts on the Canadian jerseys for the Olympics, by the way.
I don't like the black maple leaf. It's odd.
I don't like that the line doesn't connect at them back.
The one with the black maple leaf doesn't make sense because it's
the Slovakian jersey, by the way.
Hits
with the mountain,
so good.
Like into
it's really good. Yeah, the Canadian one, I just question like, why do you have to make it black? Like, there's nowhere in the flag.
Black is cool. I think that's what it always comes.
Yeah, but it's like you're red and white, man. Like that's your thing. That's your shtick. So anyway, I don't
Let's
get
go
it.
back to one of the older jerseys. That would have been fine.
Yeah, or the Four Nations jerseys actually were. I'll accept that.
Like, I don't get that. Like, I'm like, why can't we just go with that? That was great. It was a great jersey.
It makes no sense. I know. Anyway, so Flames games this week for everybody wanting to know. They are in action tomorrow night. They're going to be in Chicago against a very good Blackhawks team who's in a playoff
Will they
position.
go to Chicago cut for dinner? Is the question.
That's going to be interesting. The Flames have 4 games before our next Monday episode. They'll be in Chicago, in Buffalo Wednesday. They'll be at home to the Dallas Stars on Saturday, and then they'll be in Vancouver Sunday night. So we'll be recapping the weekend games for next week. We'll see how it goes this week. Neil, good stuff as always. And
Likewise.
I literally have a meeting in about 5 minutes. So
all right, so we got to wrap this up.
All right, good stuff as always, guys. And we'll chat to you all next week. So
later, guys.
Bye.